Well, it's finally here. I've finally done the Giro de Wales, as Phil called it in our video together last October. It's been the best part of a year in the making, me doing this route. It's been a big thing for me wanting to be able to achieve this year. And there's a bit of a cold open there. I'll do some context for what this route is, for those of you who don't know, in a minute. But look at the sunrise over the Vale of Festiniog as I climb up Stullan Dam. It was chilly when I set out on this morning ride, 9 degrees. But the lighting was beautiful, the weather was beautiful, and I really couldn't have asked for a nicer day to box off the final thing on my 2022 bucket list. So, doesn't mean I'm done doing fun things for the year, but this was the last ride that I had on the list of things I want to achieve this year, along with my sub 5 hour 100 miles and my Llyn Peninsula ride. So, I'm a very happy boy. This video will take you through what it was like to complete this insane challenge. Hardest ride I've ever done. I'm comfortable saying that. Hardest ride I've ever done. Welcome to a beautiful sunrise at the top of Stullan Dam. And I'm attempting my Giro to Snowdonia ride today. Solo, last minute. I'd hoped to do it with my mates, but we're running out of days where the light will be long enough. So we happened to be visiting my mother-in-law, and I said, I think I'll try and get this done today. So really looking forward to it. Legs aren't feeling great. I've had basically 8 days off in the last 10 because of holidays and stuff, which is brilliant. I'm not complaining, but yeah, not primed. But hey, onwards and upwards. It should be fun. So for the short explanation of what this ride is, for those who I haven't chewed your ear off about it, last year GCN, a big cycling YouTube channel, did a thing where they took the hardest stage of the Giro d'Italia in terms of distance and elevation, and they tried to recreate it in the UK and see if they could ride it at the pace that you'd have to complete the race in. So for those of you who don't know much about bike races, like World Tours, Grand Tours, there's a maximum time you have to complete it in to be eligible for the next day. And they were seeing if they could just ride it at the slowest pace. I thought, I want to see if I can make that route in Snowdonia, same elevation and distance. No way am I attempting to do this within a time cut, for reasons that will become apparent. And I've done both the routes before, so I'm not going to show you too much, because I know it's boring seeing the same roads over and over again, but at least today I strung them all together. So here I go up Cwm Eigiau. I'm sort of happy to say that I believe Cwm Eigiau, Cowlyd and Bwlch-y-Groes are 3 of the hardest climbs in the UK. I'm not saying any of them are the hardest. I haven't ridden every climb in the UK to know, but I think all 3 of them would probably be in the top 10. I'll leave it for other people to argue what way round they should be arranged, but I'd be amazed if Cowlyd isn't top. This is Cwm Eigiau. It is brutal. The barometer on my Garmin doesn't work very well. This gets over 30% a lot, and is consistently, I think, 13% for 3k. It is crazy hard, and I'm only 40k into this 250 kilometer, 6,000 meter elevation day. It's so challenging, and yet so much fun. It's so rewarding to ride this road. The views are beautiful. You climb out of the Conway Valley, which I think is an absolute mecca for cyclists. It's got to be up there with that valley that Alpe d'Huez starts in terms of the quality of cycling from this North Wales valley. And yet, I think it's relatively unknown. Right, good morning. This is the exact spot that me and Phil Lovett filmed from when he ate a guava bar and I had to break the news to him that the climb we've just done, Cwm Eigiau, is not the hardest on this route. That dubious honour goes to the Cowlyd, which is next. But still, it's 8:30. I feel like I'm doing okay to be at the top of Cwm Eigiau at 8:30. I've done Stullan, I've done the Crimea Pass, and I've made it up to here. It's slow going, this route. Yeah, 25 kilometers an hour average I'm doing with like a 220 watt average power. It's hard work. I knew it was going to be hard work, so I shouldn't complain. It's beautiful. I overuse that word in Wales. I describe things in superlatives too often, but This is just unbelievable. Cold this morning. I am cold. Well, Cwm Eigiau to warm me up. But yeah, I'm sure at the top of the Cowlyd I won't be cold. So now Cowlyd. Cowlyd's a stupid climb. This isn't even the start of it. I'd already done about 300 metres at 15% just to get to this right turn, which is topically signposted to the cemetery. Morbid humour. But here you can see that my grade isn't correct. This is like 20% plus for a very, very long time. This is a really tough hairpin. This road is beautiful. Not just like, oh, it's a lovely hill to climb as a cyclist. It's actually just a beautiful piece of road snaking up through this forest. And the views when you get to the top are sensational. I couldn't appreciate that at the time. I felt good up until this point. But when I looked back on my analysis, actually I was doing like 350 watts for 5 to 10 minutes at the bottom of both of these climbs. And that's just survival. That's just how hard I had to go. That's about 5.4 watts per kilo. Just to keep the bike upright, just to keep pushing on these climbs. I really believe Cowlyd and Cwm Eigiau are two of the most unforgiving, brutal climbs in the UK. However, it is so much fun to have a go at them. So, initially when I planned this route, it's a figure of 8. And that's intentional, because if you're driving out to it, it means you pass your car at halfway, you can restock, you can change your kit, etc. Or, if like me, you have a mother-in-law who lives exactly at the halfway point, you can stop in, make yourself lunch, it's perfect. I was initially going to do the southern loop first, because I thought it was easier. And on the northern loop, because Cwm Eigiau, Cowlyd, Stwlan and Cwm Teigl are all dead-end roads, it means if you're tired, you don't have to do them. However, we all learned after the April ride that doing the southern loop, I don't believe you'd have enough in your legs to even get up these, unless your name's Top Cat. Even for myself, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but as a relatively strong cyclist, I don't believe I could have completed Cwm Eigiau and Cowlyd that far into a ride. So I thought, do them first. The hills in the southern loop are hard, but they're much more achievable if you sit in a 32 and spin. Maybe. Look at this view as you get up the Cowlyd. It's so expansive, and it helps that it's relatively low land because you're looking over a river estuary. But it's just so expansive. It's jaw-dropping, and it's quite nice early morning, so you get good views because of the lighting. Really pleasant, very enjoyable. I say very enjoyable. I mean, look at my cadence, 40 RPM. That's absolutely insane, doing 40 RPM and kind of 250 to 300 watts. I was really trying to save my legs here. It's not in my nature at all to go gentle, to save myself up any hill. I really believe just bang it up all the hills. What's the point of riding your bike if you're not going to do that? But there's a limit when you've got 250k to get done. Yeah, it was a very tough mental challenge. Now my camera's slipped down there and I wasn't going to leave this bit in, but I thought it's nice that you can see the climb profile that I'm battling on my Garmin. It's all just black for elevation all the way. Makes it look absolutely brutal. And for some reason my Garmin was making me race Ollie Bridgewood from GCN. I don't think he did a top time up there for himself, so yeah, no illusions. And here over the top of the Cowlyd and Cwm Eigiau, you're greeted with this view of the Carneddau Mountains, which are the second highest set of mountains in Wales after Snowdon itself. Then Carneddau Llywelyn is next. They're beautiful. Lots of locals were just out walking their dogs up here. I would not be driving my car up here. Maybe I'm just not as good a driver as they are, but they so casually driving their car around these hairpins, see a cyclist, don't mind at all, pull in to let me past, even though they're on like a 30% incline. I thought maybe the descent footage would give you a bit of context for just how steep it is. The reason this loop is so slow is because you can't build speed up on your descents. I'm doing like 20 kilometers an hour here, and that really kills your average speed when you can't power through down a descent. This is a lovely little footbridge from Trifru to Llanrwst. It's not actually the fastest way to go, but you know me, why would I not take the opportunity to ride over a bridge like that? Just beautiful. And here we go out of Llanrwst. I've never shown this climb before, but this is called Nebo Road. I didn't put the stats on because Garmin Verb is misbehaving and it's pain. But Nebo Road is a great opportunity for me to show that not all the climbs are steep in Snowdonia. That is 6 km at 5% through this beautiful forest. And now we're approaching the end of the Northern Loop. I maybe haven't done it justice here, but honestly, I was in such a headspace that I was focused on myself and not on the cameras, so I didn't record quite as much as I might have liked. But I do love this view, coming down off what we call the tops, just a moorland road, and seeing the Vale of Festiniog all over again. So I'm at the top of Cwm Teigl. That marks the end of the first loop. Pretty much, it's just a descent into Llan now. It's harder than I remember. I've got to be honest, the passion's not there today. I'm not really enjoying this. Partly because of the wind, partly because there's so much climbing and you can't get any speed on the descent. Partly because I'm not in the shape I was a month ago when I did my ride around the Llyn Peninsula. Just all this time off has made me a little less strong, I guess. A bit heavier probably. I haven't really weighed myself, but I imagine. But anyway, I'm going to power on because this is the only opportunity I'll have to do it this year. So it doesn't matter if the passion's not really there. You've got to seize the opportunity. So on I go. God, that was whingy, wasn't it? I really was struggling at this point. I was really struggling to sort of keep myself motivated. But that's okay, because Wales kind of does that for me. Look at this. It's hard not to want to just keep riding your bike when the scenery's like this. I know this video is a bit boring because you've seen literally all of it before, and I do apologise for that, but I wanted to capture the sort of the occasion of me completing this route. So I promise there'll probably be no more of these exact roads. But I will keep going with activities like this. So I'd had my lunch now when I'm doing this descent out of the village that you've seen many times, and down into the roads behind Cwm Eigiau. And my mindset had changed by this point. It was about completion. I wasn't smashing it up any of the climbs, but I was trying to do the fastest average that I could. There's often sheep in this bit of the road. I quite enjoy. It's just so rural that this is the kind of company you get. So I've dropped down off there into Dolgellau and up Vronsyrth, which again I've shown you before, but this is a really cruel climb, straight out of a village, a little bit unsuspecting. But with my new mentality of just sit and spin and enjoy the day, it wasn't too bad actually. Quite nice to push myself up while enjoying the view to the left over Dolgellau and all the hills that way. You can see a little bit of it behind me. Not too bad at all. After my last whingy video, I went for lunch and refueled a bit. I think, to be honest, I was just close to bonking. Spirits are much higher now. I almost quit. We were sitting with Rhiannon eating my lunch, and she was saying, if you're not having fun, why bother? And I thought that's a really good point. So I either should just stop and enjoy spending the rest of my day with her, or make a decision to actually enjoy what I'm doing. And I chose the latter, and I am enjoying it way more. I've stopped here at the top of Vronsyrth. I'm about to climb over here. If you can see it, there's a road leading up into that gap in the hills. That's the A470. And then after that is the big one, Bwlch-y-Groes. I've stopped here to refuel, but also pick some blackberries. Delicious. Nature's sweets. So there's an absolute plethora of videos that do this next bit. The A470 pass, where I try and hit 90 kilometers an hour on the descent, you'll see. And then on to Bwlch-y-Groes itself. So while I go up Bwlch-y-Groes, I'll get reflective about the route itself. But in the meantime, look at that view. This is the main road, north to south in Wales, and it's not too busy. It's quite nice. Sure am looking forward to cycling up Bwlch-y-Groes with 110 miles and 5,000 metres of elevation in my legs. Said no one, ever. But this is what I signed up for. Aim is just to complete it. Fucking hell. If I get up without pushing, that's a job well done. So doing this route, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit annoyed that people keep going, oh, it was too ambitious to set this up for backpedal, because the route came first and loads of people said, oh, I want to come and try that with you. So everyone was welcome to, and I put forward all the information in advance, and if it was too ambitious, that's on the individual. You could have not come. No one made you. It was always about completing this route. And part of the reason I wanted to complete it is just to show that, without trying to sound arrogant, I'm well aware that I was capable of completing this at any point this year. It was never too ambitious for me. It was always just hard. It's a challenge ride that was meant to be truly, properly to my limit, but I always knew I was capable of it. So as I crawl up Bwlch-y-Groes now, all I'm thinking is, you know, show that this was achievable. It always was. Bwlch-y-Groes is one of the hardest climbs in the UK. Whether you believe it's the hardest climb in the UK is up to you. I haven't ridden all of them, so I can't tell you. But I can say that a steady 3 and a bit km at 13% with no respite whatsoever this far into the ride was a mental place I've not been to for quite a long time. It just felt endless. I had no concept of time anymore. I've left all of this footage in so you can see just how much I am crawling. Like, the bike feels like it's barely moving. And that's a weird feeling. It's the second slowest time I've ever clocked up it, like 18 minutes something. But the fact that I managed to complete it was just a sensational feeling at the top, and I was never in any doubt that I'd get home as long as I made it up here. Look at the view, look at the day, look at the lighting. All in all, everything lined up beautifully for me to do it. So I am a very happy boy as I come up here. Around this corner, you see that cross. I don't know what the story behind that is. Maybe one day I'll cover it. But this is the final stretch, and this is arguably the easiest bit of the climb. So I was content there. Top of the Bwlch-y-Groes. It's a horrible climb, isn't it? It was really, really hard today. I was really struggling. I think maybe my slowest time ever up it, but I got up it, so I'm really happy that I managed that with, I think I was 170k in, and my barometer on my Garmin's not working properly, so I'm not sure how much elevation, but I think it was about 4,500 before I started this, so that's proper hilly. I'll make it home from here, which is all I really care about. I'm very happy that I'll make it home from here. Yeah. See you all soon. And on the descent to Vernwy, here's some cows. I love these cows, just sitting in the field next to the road, very chill, weren't bothered about me and my bike at all. This is the Hernant descent. I've not put much more footage in because I've got so much footage on other videos of these exact roads. You can see them in snow and you can see them in beautiful sunny days. And like I say, I wasn't really in the mood for too much recording. But it was nice, so yeah, hopefully this does it justice. The other thing I'd like to say is I was going to do this exact ride, with a lot of the Burrito Titans, and I missed them all the way around. I was thinking how much I'd love to have my mates with me, you know, Phil, David, Lee. I don't know who else was gonna actually come and do it, but having ridden bits with those guys before, I was thinking I'd have been able to do this so much easier with the support of my friends, and some piss taking and some attacking each other on the climbs and all of the things you love about riding with mates. So here we are again, top of my favourite road. Absolutely beautiful. As you can see, it's not starting to get dark, but the sun's getting lower, so it's just getting a bit lower visibility. So I'm going to turn both my lights on and hope for the best. Not far from home now, probably about half an hour cycling, maybe 45 minutes because of the few little knobhead hills I've got to do. Nothing major. This is the final big hill, just a few piddly, like 50 or 100 metre elevation roads just to try and get myself over the 6,000 meters. It's annoying that the barometer on my Garmin's not working, so I don't know if I'll be over it. I'll have to correct elevation on Strava when I get in. Very irritating, but still, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better than I did at the top of Cwm Teigl, I'll tell you that. And to finish my previous train of thought, the only reason I didn't is because Phil had his accident, otherwise we'd have done this together and we'd have had a great time. This is coming to the end now, and I could feel it, and I was delighted. And I had to do a little detour to do an extra climb to get my 6,000 meters of climbing. But by that point, I didn't really care. I could have crawled like this all day. I still had plenty in the tank for like zone 2 riding. I just had no punch left, but that was okay. What a day out. What an amazing day out. Hi guys, thanks for watching the video. Sorry that videos have been few and far between recently. August's just been busy, and I've been cycling plenty, but not as much as I had, and I didn't want to, put out boring content. Then Verb stopped working, then I did a hill climb video for you, and it just crashes every software I've got. I assume the file's corrupt for some reason, so I just couldn't put it out. Anyway, title there, Cwm Eigiau and Nick. Yeah, Tour of Snowdonia with Nick. It was a little pun on the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift. Terrible name. 250k, 6,000 meters of elevation, an average weighted power of 218 watts, but the average power was only 188 this time, and 8,000 calories. I didn't fuel well enough on this ride, I'll say that now. In the first half particularly, I forgot how hard that first loop is, and I did not fuel enough. I only had 2 litres of beta fuel and some flapjack to get me all the way around, and that was silly. I'll show you the route now. You can see on this route that it's a bit all over the place, but we start with this climb up Stwlan and then over Crimea Pass, but then things get really tough up Cwm Eigiau and Cowlyd, both within kind of 10k of each other. Like I said in the voiceover, they're 2 of the hardest climbs in the UK. I'll fight anyone who says otherwise. I won't, but I really do mean that. I believe that. And what I think I didn't realise is how hard I was going at the beginning. I won't go into the breakdowns of all of them because power and speed was never really the target of this, but there's good blocks of time where I'm doing 300 to 350 watts just because I have to on both of those climbs, and that really does sap the legs. Even though those are powers that I'm capable of, it's definitely taking power from a battery that I won't get back, and I've got a lot of ride left to do. I maintain that doing them first was the correct order, but it was hard. And then if you look at the descent, okay, on the Eigiau descent, I managed to do 25.8 kilometers an hour. That is slow for a descent. Then on the Cowlyd descent, which I love that it's called Smell My Brakes, by the way, because yeah, smell my brakes. That's less than 10 miles an hour, 15.8 kilometers an hour. That is a slow descent. So that's why the average speed on this ride is so slow. If we go over to Nebo Road, this comes out of Llanrwst. And I really wanted to feature this more, particularly for the people who watch my channel who would not like the really, really steep stuff that I do. Snowdonia is full of roads like Nebo Road that are beautiful, and are sort of 5.1% for 5.5k. It's just that I don't ride them as much. So I always think of this, Marco, when you comment, I love hearing from you, and I always think I should put more content out that would show you that you could have an amazing time in Snowdonia as well. Climbs like this, routes like this, they do exist. It's me not representing them well enough, not that they're not there. And I gave it a whole like 20 seconds in this video, so yeah, I have failed again. Up over Machnar, that was okay, I guess. Teigl really hard again, really, really hard. And then coming into the second half, you can see that I'm still getting PRs, so it's a bit silly that I've complained about how hard it is while still setting PRs in my second half, I guess. Yeah, Bwlch-y-Groes, although I really, really did struggle up it, 18:21 and still doing 4 watts per kilo for the duration of the climb is pretty good, I think. I'm quite happy upon reflection with that. And as we get to the end, like I say, you've seen this route 1,000 times, so I won't go into too much detail. But I had to take a little detour to go up Eigiau, which is the climb back up into the village that I normally descend. And the only reason I did that was to make sure I got my 6,000 meters of elevation.
if you see the actual route I took and just how stupid it was, you come up this Roman road climb, which is normally the last thing. There's like an amphitheatre ruins and a village, Roman village ruins at the top of there, which is cool. Descend, and normally I would just pop into the village from here and I'm home. But instead, I turned left, did a big long descent, and climbed straight back up to home. Stupid. So, what has been amazing about this, I don't do these like so that people say, oh, that was good. I do it because I enjoy doing it. But the response on Strava was unreal. And to kind of fanboy for a minute or two, I do apologise. This is going to be mega cringy. But like, Ed was straight in within about 20 seconds of me uploading it. Like National Hill Climb Champ cheering me on for my ride. Then all these people that I like and respect. But then we got Ed, Phil Lovett, Illy Gardner, Top Cat. These are like, to me, they're like celebrities and they're all cheering me on. And I keep going back to this comment section, reading it and just grinning. Like, I can't believe I'm getting cheered on by these people who are like a different league, an absolute different league to me. What an incredible response. So yes, thank you very much to everyone. Thank you to everyone who watches these videos and sort of encourages me. I probably would have stopped this ride, honestly. I might not have done it if it weren't for sort of the community that I'm a part of online as well. So I really do appreciate all of it. I'm going to go now because I'm waffling. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.